and welcome to part 2 of my interview with Terry Carpenter, the stage manager, 40-year stage manager at Meadow Brook Theater here in Auburn Hills, right? Auburn Hills? Rochester?
We're located on the campus of Oakland University. We rent our space from the university. The mailing address is Rochester, but technically, this side of the campus is in the city of Auburn Hills. It's a little confusing, but you can find us.
Yeah, I'm like, yes. So ignore all that, but make sure you just go to Oakland University. You'll find there's signs all the way down the parking lot. It'll lead you right to the theater. Last time we talked about where you came from. I want to talk about your experiences for the past 40 years. What is your favorite show that you've done?
Well, I suppose I should say it's A Christmas Carol. We're on the set here as part of a Christmas wreath behind us, because I've done that, the most, all 40 years. No, I take that back. Not the very first year. I think this is the 39th year of A Christmas Carol. I've either been the assistant stage manager, the stage manager, or the director, or some combination of all of those jobs for all 39 of A Christmas Carol. But I usually say that my favorite show was Tom Stoppard's Arcadia, because even at the end of the 7 weeks of rehearsals and performances, I was still discovering new things about the show and in the script, because it's Tom Stoppard. There's a lot of concepts in there, and even the last week I was like, oh, I get this part now.
Were the actors like that too? Were they like, oh, I see what I'm doing?
I think maybe. I don't know, because they were in their own part, and of course that show is structured so they're only in half the shows. There's the past scenes and the present scenes, so they may not have realized, unless they were out watching it like I was, that there was something that was happening in the present that was what had happened in the past, a reference to. And the director, Jeffrey Sherman, who was the artistic director there at the time, actually was pretty clever about staging so that certain things happened in the same location on the stage. So if you came more than once to it, you might have picked up on, that's a connection between those two things. Those two people are in the same space on the stage talking about the same thing.
So when you watch a show over and over and over again, you really do. You're really watching the show.
Yeah, I don't sit backstage and do crossword puzzles or something during the show.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think there's stage managers who might go, okay, they're just waiting for the right, their line to push the button and things like that. You can't be that way.
No. No. I rarely turn off my headset because I might need to say something. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. The actors skip a page of dialogue, and all of a sudden the sound cues and light cues are going to be coming faster than the crew is expecting. There's certainly times I'm looking more at the script, times I'm looking more out my window at the show. If there's a fight sequence or something that I really have to watch to make sure it's going to be safe for the actors, then I have to sort of know what's on that page so that I don't look at the script. I'm looking at the action on the stage.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how holistic a stage manager has to be at all times, if holistic is the right word or the word I'm looking for. But just like somehow they have to be completely aware of absolutely everything that's going on.
And my position backstage here is a little different than a lot of stage managers that are like in a booth in the back of the house with the light or the sound people, getting the perspective of the audience. I'm off to the side, but I do kind of see the show from the front, but yet I'm backstage, so I can also keep track of who's coming from the dressing rooms, who might be late for their next entrance that needs an extra cue, or the wardrobe people or the backstage shift crew can come up to me and say, there's a problem, we need to adjust this. Somebody's not going to make their next entrance because they're in the bathroom throwing up. Things happen, and you have to be ready to go with it.
Well, let's talk about that. So, what are some things that have happened here that you've had to solve? I mean, what are some things that you had to solve like that?
Oh, well, the power goes out, and and I have to walk on stage and talk to the audience and say, just stay in your seats. We'll be back with you shortly. Because then my mic from backstage doesn't work. But I've had to make the fire alarms have gone off. We've had to hold shows and start up again. There are actors who've missed entrances, and over my mic, I can call to the dressing room and say, we need so-and-so on stage, and sometimes they make it, and sometimes they don't.
How do you maintain your composure?
Well, so I've done this for 40 years,
Okay.
and it somehow, like they say in the movie Shakespeare in Love, it will all work out. We don't know how it's going to happen, but it will all work out. So I have a little stone on my desk that says all will be well.
Well, I'm going to bring it to Michael Chekhov a little bit because that's what I do. And Michael Chekhov has the four brothers in art: beauty, ease, entirety, and form, right? These are the things that make up fine art. But the most important thing, even though Chekhov says there's no one is not more important than the other. Really, the most important thing is ease. A feeling of ease is absolutely essential, and you embody it. You embody a feeling, even when we have a feeling of ease, or we must have a feeling of ease, even when the world is on fire around us, right? We still have to maintain that, and you have that, and it's just incredible. I'm going to tell a little story about you, which is the time when we were doing Of Mice and Men.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, what story are you going to tell?
Yes.
Of Mice and Men, and one of the actors didn't show up. And it was a student matinee. And I've worked with stage managers where one of the actors didn't show up, and they are running around going, oh my God, one of the actors didn't show up. And what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And you can see all the stress in them because they're trying to solve the problem and they're panicking. But you didn't panic at all. You were like, oh, I've made a phone call. I've called the other intern, who happens to be the current artistic director. But at the time...
he was an intern, and he was the understudy, and he was working in the scene shop. He was right on the other side of the campus. We could get him here quickly.
Yeah, and you were like, we're just going to hold the house for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to continue with the show. And the guy came on, and he was great. He just came on with the script.
No, I think he actually...
Did he not?
I think he didn't have the script because it was a small role, and he in theory.
Oh yeah, we thought he was going to come on with the script, and then he was like, "No, I don't need the script."
We held long enough to work through the couple fight things that he was involved in because we didn't want to have something go wrong in the fight scene. But he was prepared. We just made the announcement.
You just had faith, and it just happened, and I was so struck by that. I tell that story. I tell that story to my students all the time. I tell that story all the time because it's just, for me, it was an amazing exercise in ease, right? That feeling of ease, that just trusting that it will all work out. We have it. We have you guys got this. You're professionals, and that was an amazing feeling.
And then there's a whole backstage crew that's ready to help with you, whatever. Now I'll tell my worst story.
Okay.
And this was, I'm at my second year stage managing here, where the lead actor passed away the morning of the closing night. So I haven't told you this story before.
No.
So the show was, I can't even remember the title. But it's about Oliver Wendell Holmes, the Supreme Court Justice, and it's he and his wife. And you see them through the years, and they never had any children, but they would have a different law clerk come into their home each year. So we had all these recent Hillberry graduates that were playing the various law clerks through the year, and the two older actors who'd worked together here before and had done TV stuff together for years. Were sort of like the same roles off stage as they were on stage. They were like mentoring these young men who were asking, like, should I go to New York? Should I go to LA? So anyway, he had a heart attack the morning of the closing performance, and we decided that we would do the show. And Charles Nolte, who often directed here, went on with the script. We did a quick put in the afternoon, and everybody did a great job for the performance. We had to make an announcement to the audience because this actor was somebody who'd been a regular here.
How did the audience react?
Well, anytime there's an understudy goes on, the
Yeah.
audience is always,
Yeah.
they're seeing an extra thing that nobody else got to see, and of course, in this case, they were, really pulling. Anyway, we got through the show. Curtain came down, and then the curtain rose for the curtain call, and here's this line of all these young men crying.
Oh.
So they held it together till then, and then, of course, now that makes me get teary every time I tell
Yeah.
this story. But so I made it through that.
Yeah.
So an actor being late, not going to be here for the first scene, that's fine. We'll cover it. We'll get through.
Wow.
So anyway, that's when people ask me what's your best, sometimes I can't think of what would be the best thing. But when they ask me what's the worst thing, that's been
That would be
the worst.
That would be really, really tough. Wow. I think that's a good spot for me to end
this part of our interview. So this has been part 2 of my interview with Terry Carpenter. If you would like to see more of these types of videos, please don't forget to subscribe and like this channel, which is The Inspired Actor. And if you really want to see more of what I do and how I highlight local artists, please feel free to go on my website, which is michigancheckoff.com, or find me on Facebook. Just doing the search, just do Michigan Checkoff and like my page. And you will be kept up to date on all of the goings-on my channel and in and around Michigan. So we'll see you for part 3.